Hello, everyone. So, today I am actually going to be working on a Jali style pendant. Jali typically means net. So, it's something which is see through. And in the most, when I just broadly have to define something like that, it was actually a suggestion given by one of the viewers on my previous YouTube video. And I thought that was a great suggestion because that's the kind of work which I've actually not done much. In fact, if I remember, I think I must have not done maybe more than one or two pieces in the past, and this was a long time ago. So this actually was a great suggestion, and I actually, I'm pretty sure I'm going to struggle a little bit with this, but you know what? I'm super excited about working on this particular piece and showing you all the outcome. And thank you so much for the suggestion because it's something which is a little out of my comfort zone. Cut work is something that I'm really comfortable with, but when I have to cut through clay completely, it's something that I have my apprehensions about. So let's see how this turns out. And if you do enjoy and do like the video, then please hit the like button and subscribe to our YouTube channel. Thank you so much for your time because I have a very strong feeling that this is going to be a bit of a long video. So I really appreciate your patience and I really hope you all like it. Thank you so much. So as you see, what I have here is a slab and that's been cut into a circular shape. I have maintained the same thickness of 0.6 centimeters and this is right now at a leather hard state. I made this like maybe about 1 hour back and 1.5 hours, no, about 1 hour back roughly, and I have just left it on my table and currently it's at a state of working. Remember that this time duration actually varies from place to place. If you live in a much warmer climate, then it's obviously bound to dry much quicker. Now the only other thing that as a tool I would say is required for this is your X-Acto, and this is the most important tool I would say for today's work. So let's actually begin without any further delay. Now, in terms of a design, typically you can choose obviously anything that you want. Now, going by the theme, you obviously have to cut through the piece so that it can actually be a see-through pendant, more like how a net or a jali works. So I was actually thinking of going a little, a little different in terms of what I can do. So I'm actually going to take the help of these cookie cutters over here. It's a set of 3 that I have, and what I'm going to do is I'll just make these markings. Try to place it as centrally as possible and make very visible markings. What I'm also going to do is I'm going to do this. I'm going to actually, you can actually use a scale if you think you're not getting the most precise measurements, but I'm just making a marking so that I can make a design going by this pattern. And there. The idea is to actually draw your design so that you're able to plan well in advance in terms of what you want to do. So use any kind of a ballpoint pen refill, or this is just an old needle, a plastic needle, whichever you're comfortable in terms of using to draw. So let's actually begin to draw out our design. So if you see, what I've done is you can actually see that I've drawn a very light outline of a very simple pattern that I think I might be able to cut through. Let's see. I think the only places where I have to be extremely careful, in fact I think I'll have to be careful all over, is especially in these places where the lines get extremely thin. So those are places which maybe require a little bit more attention. Knife is always to be held straight. You pierce right through and pull it out. Stay focused and try not to get very distracted. Okay, now it's better. So it's like, it's probably not the most clearest, but you can actually see that you can see through, and that's what we are trying to look at. We will obviously, there's no way I would leave a pendant. You've always seen my work, and you've always seen me finish it off, as neat as possible. So that's exactly what I'm going to do here. But I will get to the neatness part a little later. I mean, maybe once I'm done with all of the cut work. So let's do that first. I cannot imagine using any other tool apart from this for, this kind of work. Or if there is, then I'm probably not aware of it. Let's see if this has actually done the job well. Nope. This is not a clean cut. Oh, actually, it's not bad. A few glitches, but I'm already enjoying this, because I mean I understand and I see that it's not the most neatest work, but you know what, I think the more I do it, the more I actually would get better at it. So let's see, I'm getting to the more delicate part of this. Yay, that came out easier. Whew, okay, that is, I know that's not the most neatest of pieces that you've seen, but you know what? No, this is definitely not where I'm going to leave it. I'm obviously going to neaten the whole thing. And I think this is where I would probably make use of my finishing tool. I think before that, I think what I'm going to do is just make sure all of it is settled down. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to clear this and make it all nice and neat. Like I'm going to pretty much use my, finishing tool for this purpose, because I can't think of anything else that's going to go into these little, crevices and these every nook and corner. And I think these tools, because they are made, for something like this, to enter these kinds of corners, and I just think that'll be most appropriate to do. So let's actually neaten this and see what this looks like. Okay, so I am almost there. So what I did is I actually used this finishing tool, and to get to the corners, I also thought the needle tool seemed to help, especially this pointed part, just to kind of, soften the edges a little bit, so that, it's all neat and tidy. So I'm almost done. I have a brush here. And I think, yeah, I think I'm, it's Well, it's not the most neatest one, but you know what? I'm actually pretty happy with the way this is. I mean, if you look at it, you see that? You see that it's quite see-through, and well, I think, you know, after a long time I've attempted something like this, and I am overjoyed with the result, to be very honest, even though it's not the most perfect one. But I am not done yet. I would do a little design on the borders, kind of like a frame. Okay, there's something more over there. I just like to maybe make this line a little bit more prominent, because with all that finishing, I think a little bit of those have just faded away lightly. And there. Okay, obviously I can't leave this one unattended. But before that, what I'm going to do is use the back of my brush. Doesn't that look pretty? I'll just sharpen these as well. I can go on to just use those square cookie cutters, but this is equally quick. I mean, so I have that here. A little knife, because my fettling knife can become a little bit difficult. Just little designs like this, which I think matches, rather goes well with this kind of a piece. So let's do it for the rest of them as well. Now, if you see, I've actually added designs to the frame, which is these designs that I've kind of put around this square border. Now, what I'm also beginning to do is add a little bit of a textural design here. Nothing too, nothing too fancy, just little lines, short lines. I mean, you know how much I love textures, so I'm literally changing the entire, plain texture and making it a little bit more heavier with the help of these designs. A pendant like this, I would not do too much painting. I would typically keep it single color, maybe a white or an off-white, or maybe a gold or something like that. That's it. I wouldn't paint anything more than that on something like this, because I would typically want the clay work to be seen. So yeah, I think that's how I would typically paint a pendant like this, which has this amount of heavy work. This is a pendant I'm keeping for myself. Definitely. And thank you so much for the suggestion. I really appreciate it. I think it has really put me up. I mean, this was a bit of a challenge, to be very honest. So I mean, that's really looking beautiful, isn't it? I am absolutely thrilled at this. Okay, I just hope all of these little thin lines or those thin pieces of clay and all that just fire well and safe without any damages. Let's see. Anyways, but whatever happens, happens. I am just glad I worked on a piece like this. I think I'm just gonna do a little bit. I hope. As usual, just make sure your blade is, the tip of your blade or knife, whichever you're using, is clean. So this is the final piece, and what I've done is I've just put two gauge 24 nichrome wire U-pins on these two sides, and this is it. I think you can probably see the carvings a lot better in this kind of a light, and it's see-through. So I really hope you liked this pendant. I know it's a slightly long video, but yep, I think with a little bit of struggle, I think I've managed to create a piece which I'm pretty happy about. Even though it's not the most perfect pieces, but I'm still pretty happy with the way this is. So I really hope you like this video, everyone. If yes, then please like the video and subscribe to our YouTube channel. Thank you so much for your time, and thank you so much for watching.